Hello, we're Winterbourne, James and Jordan, and we're here today chatting with Milky. Well, a fair bit's changed in the time since we did the debut album. That was 2019 that one came out, and lots changed in the world over those few years, and the way we do things changed a little bit. So we did a lot more of this between us, like on laptops and working in little pockets of time. We didn't do all these in one go like we did for the first album. We basically didn't know what form the album was going to be until really close to the end. And so we did 3-4 songs at a time. And yeah, it's been I think some of these songs were from 2018, so it's been a very different process, and we've learnt a lot along the way. We also learnt a lot of that while doing the first album, so the process wasn't all that different once we actually had the songs coming together.
Well, the album sort of unfolded from a concept that we made with an unreleased song that we recorded a really long time ago that sort of explored this world, this fictional world called Angelo, which just kind of kept popping up in some lyrics. And when we introduced some characters, I think it was Long Distance Runner, that we brought Daniel and Ali in as characters, and it became kind of apparent that we should use them to tell a bit of a story. So the album sort of took on a little bit of a concept without being a full concept album, but it definitely had I remember when we wrote the song Dandelions, it was kind of everything but the idea of Angelo was in that song. And then once it was put into that same world with the rest of the songs, it sort of made more sense. And that was the case with a lot of the songs where we said, well, if we can apply this concept to all these songs, then it's going to make sense with the record. So theme-wise, it kind of presented itself, and we had this main character, this man who was struggling with his identity and his place in the world, and he had this woman he was in love with, and we like to explore the world itself as well, and kind of use all the things that we're confused about in our world and put them onto them. And so, yeah, it was an interesting kind of concept album-y approach that we put into it without going full, rock opera, which is, one day, but not this day.
Well, we didn't know we were crafting a sonic realm as we began. So we kind of just wrote the songs. We sort of had this idea that the songs would be in this world that Jordan was talking about, and so I think that was kind of always there as an idea, that it would have almost like this magical element to it. And there was a couple of instruments that we started writing on. One of them was this 12-string guitar with all the low octave strings taken off, so it's in like what's called Nashville tuning, and you play certain chord shapes on it and it sounds otherworldly for some reason. And then there was also a Juno synth that when those two combined, they made it sound like they were in a place, in a world, and that happened to be matching to what we were kind of visualizing for the artwork for the album and the aesthetic of this, whatever this world was that we were imagining. And so once we kind of got that, which was probably on that song Dandelions that Jordan was talking about, we kind of subconsciously started putting all the songs in that world sonically. And so we'd put this 12-string in, we put this synth in, and we go, that works really well. And then we put our vocals on and we'd stack them in a certain way every time, and certain reverbs and delays that kind of all made them all fit into this world. And so that's kind of, I guess, as a result of the lyrics, that's kind of where we've ended up putting the sound.
We kind of wanted to do the self-production thing last time. It didn't end up happening. But with self-production, we had a bunch of people that were helping us, and it was all it was a bit of a process. Like James said, it wasn't like we went into a studio and became the directors. It just meant that we could have a little bit of control over where things were going, and it also felt like we were on our own a lot of the time as well, because we didn't have someone like Andy telling us what was going to be good. But we're kind of those people who, regardless of what we're doing, we want to have our hands in it as much as we can. We can't really let people do things on their own and then wait for them to come back and see how they ended up. So it suited us. That's how we work, no matter what we're doing, whether it's the artwork as well or mixing. We were always looking over Jackson's shoulder, trying to give him advice and ask him to do things that we wanted him to do. So yeah, it suited us, and yeah, it meant that we could take it exactly where we wanted it to go. And we did that on the last record a lot as well. Like, I remember there being a lot of things in the mixing stage that we just had it a certain way in our heads, and we just kept at it till it was right, sort of thing. So we've kind of been doing that forever, and it's a bit of a fault of ours, but hopefully it ends up with a good album at the end of it.
It's been interesting this time around because we put so much pressure on albums as a concept and on ourselves, not on other people's albums. But that's always the ultimate for us, is like creating a body of work and having them all make sense together as a whole. And we were really proud of what we did with the first album, so we wanted it to equal that, or if not push us further. And we were, like we said, we were writing these songs while recording the first album. Even we just knew that they weren't going to live on that album. We knew that we had the songs for that one, and whatever we were writing was for the next thing, whatever that was going to be. Because COVID happened and we were at home and things got strange and we couldn't do a tour. We were going to go to Europe and we couldn't. We were going to tour in Australia and we couldn't. We ended up making a film and putting that out and doing a live album, and we didn't really write that many songs. We thought we were going to... A lot of people did find inspiration and from being at home and having time to write, but we really came up with almost nothing except a film. And that kept the creative juices flowing. And then eventually when the songs did start coming, we had this framework in mind and they kind of fit into it. We just kept demoing them and we kind of forget now, but we didn't really have the album as a whole, and it didn't really make sense to us in our heads even until a couple of months before we finished it, which isn't even that long ago now. So we were just very glad when it all came together and the story made sense and we had the songs and we felt like it was something that we were proud of. So it's been very different, and there's been a lot of learning and figuring stuff out. But because we've literally been doing it ourselves with the help of Jackson, our producer and mixing engineer friend, it's been like we would go into a studio, take the songs away on a hard drive and literally have these songs on our laptop and be like, okay, what do they need next? And how do we sculpt this into whatever we were imagining? And so we had no excuse. There was no like, well, it's done now, let's mix it or whatever. It was like, no, if it isn't what you want, then it's up to you, and you have to spend some time coming up with that, and which is kind of exhausting, but also like a dream experience for us, because that's how we've always been since we were making music together in high school. It's just now I guess we've learned enough about actually putting sound together and producing from our friends that we could actually do it to a professional level and then hand it off to Jackson to mix it. So yeah, it's been a real long period of time. I think we don't really appreciate that now, the fact that it's November 2023 and we were working on these in 2018, but here we are. I was going to say, let's do 1.5 each. No, I'll do one. I'm going to say Long Distance Runner, because I think it sums up this album. It's got those characters in it. I think we tried to do so much in one song with that. It's like every verse is a bit different. The chorus is like just a banging pop chorus, in my humble opinion, and it's just a song like you were saying, I think if we were to show someone our music and I could show them that song, I'd be like, if you don't like that, you won't like anything we do. That's me.
Do you have a half?
Yeah, and I'll take half from something different. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to answer an impossible question because I like them all so much. I've got this. I want to do something different to Long Distance Runner because you've got to give a bit of scope. I'm going to go with... I'm going to have to say Forevermore. Okay. But I hate to have ruined two of your choices, so best of luck.
Well, let's do 4 then. Long Distance Runner, Forevermore. Yeah, they're the 2 best songs on the album. But then, how much time have we got? Is there a lot of tape left? Okay.
This isn't actually going to happen. So.
I really want to get these new fans. I'm going to say my 3. So screw it. I'm going to say Dandelions, because I think it's track 1, and it's track 1 for a reason. Sets up the world, and it's a good song. It's a banger, and without being a banger, you see, it's got a bit of everything in it, but it's not like it's the biggest hit. And then I'm going to say Glass of Lemonade. That's a good song as well. And I like Bird on the Breeze, and it's not just because I sing a chorus and a verse, but it's also a very a good. I think those 5. If you were to show, no, yeah, that one. I mean, that's good as well. They're all good. They're all good. But I think those ones they've all got the things in them that you would need to understand the album, and the band. So, or any one of them, I suppose, does. But yeah, it's a loaded question. You ask us about our songs. They're our children. These songs.
Which children?
Yeah, they all have qualities. I mean, walks along the avenue. He's a little bit angsty, but we can show him off. The one I'm most proud of is it only in Paint and Dandelions? Is it somewhere else as well? Yeah. So there's a guitar line. Oh well, the main melody from a song called Paint, which was the basis for the whole song, basically that melody, which we also put in Dandelions, which is the first song on the album, which wasn't a thing until we were actually recording it, and then I realized that it would fit where it goes. It's just a little snippet coming into the second verse, I think, and it just links those 2 songs, and there's probably a more profound reason for it, but it's just a nice reminder of that thing, and like in terms of motifs, that's a really nice one. And then our friend Josh played a cello part in. Were you gonna do one as well?
Well, I thought we were doing one each. Our friend Josh, he plays cello, played a really nice melody. That's really we had this song Glass of Lemonade, which we were really worried about doing in the studio because we liked the demo so much. We ended up getting it in the studio in a live take, and we were absolutely loving it, but there was this bridge where nothing was happening except we were just loving each other. But for an audience, it was a boring section, no doubt. And then we gave it to Josh at his home studio, and he played this cello line first go. And it was really annoying because he's clever like that, but it's beautiful and it gets me every time, and it's really nice. And we ended up putting that in another song as well as a little nod. So we're fans of a motif. We're touring in March with the full band around Australia. I think we just locked in which cities, but I'm sure there'll be a poster. So check that. Yeah, the last tour we did for an album, we played every song on the album. But as you make more albums, that becomes more and more difficult to achieve. So I'm not sure we'll do that. And also the thing with us is we haven't really, because we put that album out, we did Echo of Youth in 2019, and then COVID happened in 2020. So we haven't toured those songs as much as we feel they deserve. So we're still itching to get out and play some of those a bit more. But I think we're going to do our best to bring whatever this world is that we've come up with to the stage and make it make sense with the album and make it something interesting and a bit beyond just a bunch of dudes playing some songs. So what that exactly will be, we're working on now. So yeah, we'll see. Hey Rosetta, the band that Jordan just spoke about. Simon and Garfunkel. I'm going to say AC/DC. AC/DC. No.
Alas, I Cannot Swim by Laura Marling.
Shaun of the Dead.
Boobs. I said it in the mic. He's gonna cut it up now. I'm gonna say absolutely nothing. I'm thinking about absolutely nothing.
Not true.
And food.
Miley Cyrus.
Affirmation by Savage Garden.
The Living End. Green Day.
Green Day. American Idiot.
Well, who knows what it's like to be a Spice Girl or a Backstreet Boy?
That's not an answer.
Spice Girl.
I thought this was coming. Cumin.
Yeah. Do I have to do one as well? Does it have to be a spice? No, like, can I be like sneezy? Main stage, Glastonbury. Sunset.
You've never done karaoke.
We have. We've just been so drunk that we've forgotten about it. It's happened several times. Queen. Don't Stop Me Now. On our last tour, we did the Metro Theatre in Sydney, which was a dream of ours to achieve for a long time, and it was overwhelming. So the Metro Theatre Sydney, but also I've kind of forgotten it because it was too much to take in.
Power of Stella.
Someone who isn't the Beatles. Not Winterbourne. Not the Beatles. I'm gonna, in the interest of trying to say, no, that's not that interesting either. The Beatles.
Wow. Just keep it real. Just live your best life, and don't stop believing.
Harmony.
Drop it. It's gonna be Green Day's "Ha Ha, You're Dead."
I think it was episode 17 of Drake and Josh.
That's a good one. Yeah. I think when I saw Jack Johnson play in Centennial Park, I liked the idea of being Jack Johnson.